and we'll just do it like this. So we can continue doing what we're doing. I'll just record it from this way and see if I can't splice in what we were just talking about. Because I'm a little turbed about that situation, but I'll figure that out. That's one of the things we've been fighting getting into this room to use this room is the camera situation. So most of the time we just do it on the computers at the house, but I've been trying to get in here. And I think what might end up happening is I just go ahead and buy a desktop for in here and set up a couple cameras on the desktop.
Yep.
And go that route. Yep. Just go that route. So rather than trying to use the GoPro and
fucking just use the GoPro for out while we're riding.
Spend more money on podcast. But it is what it is. So, well, anyway, so you've got your shop. And how big's your shop now?
It's right at 15,000 square foot.
Right at 15,000 square foot. I
sublease some of it. There's actually a Harley shop in here. And then there was a lady that actually she's fighting for her life right now. Did embroidery work. She made all our hats and all that stuff, and she was a real dear friend of my mom's. She had a massive stroke, man, a couple weeks ago, man. So it's she embroidered everything for us in here. So man, she just had a massive stroke. Whatever her daughter called, her other daughter in New York was like, "Hey, mom's legs don't work," you know. And she's like 13. She's actually the same age as my little girl. She's 13, and I think they said somebody from the church over there or something was like, "Hey, when you call ambulance," you know. And then, in fact, last Friday, not this Friday, but the one before, I think they went to do her. She was an organ donor, so they went to do the local walk, Louisiana Organ Procurement Association or whatever, which she was an organ donor. They went to do that stuff Friday, and man, it went. I guess, lack of better words, started unplugging her, and she started responding.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, I always said she's a tough old bitch, man. And Amanda started, I guess, fighting for her own life, man. So she took her turn for a worse a couple days ago. So I think she's on hospice. I don't know where at or anything. I haven't been back out there. I went out there within the first day or two to, I guess essentially say my goodbyes, but pray for her family, man. It's pretty tough going through that crap, you know. Like I said, I just did it twice in the last 2 years. So
well, and
fun ride.
That's one thing I can say about this community that we're a part of is something like that. There's a sense of family in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've all seen the rough side of it also.
Oh, yeah.
But even if it's somebody you don't know real well or whatever, you don't wish any ill will.
No, man, I do a lot more. It's crazy, man. I've got people out here in the community where I'm at. I've had, about my neighbor, man. We moved to my parents' house after they passed. I grew up there, and my little brother lives an eighth of a mile away on the next street over, and all that. I live 1.1 miles from my shop, so I text Kelly, I think Thursday or Wednesday, and said it's time for about bi-monthly tank of diesel. I fill my truck up about every 2 months, driving from here to there, you know.
Right.
But my neighbor was like, "Man, you need to run for mayor or whatever, and all this other crap." Man, I do a lot being with the shop, from just sponsoring these kids' baseball teams to where my shop's at. It's actually in the heart of. It's considered Watson. If you ever come down the I-12 corridor through Baton Rouge or whatever, the Bass Pro Shop is right there in Denham Springs. I'm 8 miles north of that. So we're not the township, village, whatever you want to call it. It's still not I don't know what you call we're still just our own little community, I guess. There's not there's not it's not been man. They tried to vote for it. I can't remember what you call it. But whenever you make it up, incorporate it.
Yeah.
They never incorporated it. So, I do so much crap for the community out here, man. There's people, I don't know half these people. They come up to me at Walmart talking to me. I'm like, "Okay, yeah. And Kelly's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "I don't know." All the time, man. From restaurants. we've been in other states, man, and people took pictures of my truck going down the road, like, "Hey, man, I seen you out here," you know, and I'm like, "Okay."
Thanks.
And it's not that I don't care. It's just that I don't remember people's names or who they are or what they drive or uh, you know, they and being a business owner and being able to do my own thing, man. Every time there's some kind of like a natural disaster or something, I kind of take off and go deal with it. 2 years ago, I think when Lake Charles got hit real bad. See, the media goes to wherever the big town is, where somebody knows. What they don't go to is, like I said earlier, Forest Hills, out that way. Uh, that's real poor parishes, man. Their monthly income there, is on average like $20,000-$30,000. Man, it's not much, and it's all older families and stuff that's been there for generation after generation. So, hell, we took over there with like a 65 horse John Deere, just three or four of us. Me and a couple buddies. I think we went with two diesel trucks. That's it. We took a tractor, and yeah, my little brother right here. We took off with a couple trucks and a big ass John Deere tractor. We was cutting trees and pushing them out of the main roads to get to these people, man, the day after the storm come through. And went out there and we cut a bunch of trees off of houses and all that. And like I said, we weren't there to clean people's yards. We're there to make sure people could get out and, get
Yeah,
to
get
hospitals or
the
get
help they
groceries,
needed
whatever,
when
you
they
know.
needed it.
Yeah, and just about all us, we're in the South, man. So all of us pretty much know how to cook just about anything from roadkill to whatever you want, you know. So one of the guys stayed back, and actually he used to own a shop and doing bikes too. All of us that have shops out here around Baton Rouge are all pretty good friends, man. So one of them he took off. My buddy Robert, he had Cajun Power Sports or whatever. He went with us, and he stayed back at the local fire station to cook the big old jambalaya. And man, we did that. I took off to Houston when it flooded in 17. Me and my little brother took off with a couple other business owners and guys that just had flexible schedules. And we took off with shorts on and t-shirts and flip-flops, and thought we are just going to go for a day or two and come back. And we were there like 5 or 6 days, man, with no
Right.
change of clothes or nothing. But the they took us in with open arms, helped us out. We stayed at the church and stuff in Deer Park, and they clothed us and fed us and all that. Man, like you're saying with the community, man, that's the one thing about this is I know for a fact I can get in my truck and go to any event with no bike, no food, nothing to drink on, and somebody's gonna clothe me, give me something to ride, fill my belly up, and they're definitely gonna give me something cold to drink.
Well, and that's the funny thing is I called you earlier and we've talked a couple times. I'm coming up for Battle of the Builds and I'm coming by myself. And you're like, man, I got you. You're taken care of. And I'm like, man, I I myself, I don't I try not to ask anybody for anything that I can't provide for myself. That's just how I am. But at the same time, I really do appreciate it because I'm going somewhere I've never been. I'm just bringing my truck and my buggy, and I'm coming up there to cover an event. And I'm not planning on staying like partying or anything. But from the sounds of it, I'm probably going to. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I do appreciate everybody like Jr. and Alan are like, dude, we got you. You and Kelly and Cabo and Trey and everybody's like, man, you're good. You're coming to our park, our neck of the woods. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm
it,
really excited. I've never been
it,
there before. Everybody says it's a good park. So
it cracks me up how much everybody loves that place. We're all like, man, we freaking hate it. It's dusty a lot of times when it hasn't rained. But
yeah, but what park isn't?
everybody gets a little like, oh, you want to test a bike, bring it to Tower Cracks. Well, at the same time, some of us want to go out and ride and load it back on the trailer on its own power. Not everybody's a complete idiot like me and wants to prove a point.
Well, see, and that's my deal because I got a lot of friends that are always like, man, why don't you go through that hole? They call me Captain Go Around sometimes, and I'm like, because I like showing up, riding, having a good time, and loading up on the trailer. That whole having to pick it up or winch it up or push it up, I'm just not into it.
Yeah, we've done all the above. I've done everything but brought I think a helicopter out to load my bike before. I've had to call somebody to bring a piece of equipment to come get me out of the woods. It's been quite a I've got some stories, man. There's some stuff that's not even good for the internet. We can't. I'm
we,
happily married now, so we're just gonna leave it at that.
Well, the funny thing is last week, so we did trail stories last week, and that opened up a can of worms. We were talking about the TV show that's been going on and our feelings on it, and I'll be the first one to tell you, if you don't like it, don't watch it. If you do like it, watch it. I watch it. I'm trying to support friends.
Yep.
I and it ain't made for us. It ain't.
No, it's made for the general public, man.
It's made for the general public, and if you look at it from that point of view, then it's a good show.
Yeah.
It's engaging and it is entertainment.
And I try to explain it. And some of that stuff, even what nobody understands is if you look at the ATV and the side by side market as a pie, there's a very, very, very small portion of that does anything with mud riding.
Yeah.
So every time they release a wheel or a tire, why isn't it made in a 50? Why isn't it made in a 44? Why don't they make that in a 24? Because nobody else rides that, man. Nobody rides it. Look when 8-inch portals dropped. Everybody was on Super ATV. Why would y'all make that stupid crap? Nobody's going to buy that.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny because that pays my light bill here. I sell the crap out of it. The same thing with wheels and tires, man. 24s ain't big enough. I've got 30-inch fuels on my bike. When they first come out, I got a set of 30-inch fuels for a customer and some 43s. And he had put them on his bike. He rode it, and he actually ended up flipping this thing at Red Creek and had to have his wife air meted. So we went and picked the bike up because they left it in the woods. He told us about where it was. So when I heard about it that Monday, we got in touch with him. Like I said, I barely knew this guy. I had sold him some wheels and tires. I'd sold him some portals and some Ford A arms, and that was it.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, no, it wasn't Ford. I think it was a 6-inch lift and some 8-inch 45s maybe, and some 43s and 30s. As soon as they came out, bro, it was hideous. The tires were about this big. They're real skinny. It looked funky, man. It was.
I don't like that look at all.
It was terrible, and he had flipped the bike, man. His wife got hurt and they air matted her out or whatever. And when we heard about it, man, I reached out to him. He told us what it was. So I think that Tuesday or Wednesday, it might have been a day or two. We found out where the bike was, and we loaded up. Me and my buddy, my partner Larry, and 2 other boys, and we all. Hell, look, my little brother still got the pictures of it. We went to Red Creek and picked this thing up.
Oh wow!
The Razor 800, an ice chest, and a 14-foot trailer. And put that Highlifter. Was that on the 43? Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I was on 40 cents. That wasn't it. But anyhow, I ended up trucks go wild, and April rolls around. I was like, man, let me borrow them 43s and 30s to go to Trucks Go Wild because they had just came out in like February.
Right.
So I put them on my bike and went to Trucks Go Wild. A bunch of people took pictures of it and all that crap. And I was like, man, these things are hideous. So that was a few years ago when they released them, and then I guess about 2 years ago now, as the bike got bigger and bigger, 50s just weren't big enough. So I needed to go bigger. So I got a set, the last set actually, when I called Tyler at MSA. I was like, hey man, I want a set of 30-inch Polaris wheels. He's like, dude, good luck. And I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. He's like, no, bro, we got 3. I'm like, bro, I was like, what happened to that old display wheel that was at my shop when the shop burned down? And he's, I don't know, did you ever send that back? I'm like, yeah, man. Backstory to that, about 4 years ago now, Easter weekend, maybe? No. Might have been the weekend before Easter or the weekend after Easter, 4 years ago. My building burned down at Baton Rouge. I was on the corner of Segan and Airline, which is the busiest intersection of Baton Rouge by far, per capita, all that. That is the busiest shopping area and the busiest road. And my building caught fire and burned. I got a phone call on Facebook Messenger, said, is this Mr. Anthony? I'm like, yeah. Like, I think your building's on fire. And I'm like, where? And they're like, you got the ATV shop and the audio shop, right? And yeah. Like, yeah, it's got smoke pouring out of it. So we jumped in Kelly's 4Runner and hauled ass that away. Ended up, when I pulled up to the scene, I had a flat tire in a 4Runner. I'd been running this thing at like 110 down the interstate and thought it felt funny. It's because I was driving on a flat tire the whole way with my kids
and thought it felt funny.
Yeah, with my kids in the car. So my little brother and my dad, I think, was on the way there or something. He got in an accident, man. It was a terrible weekend. But the building burned, man, and it was all over the news. There were like $1.9 million in damages. So with the insurance we only had like a $2 million umbrella. The man that owned the building had zero insurance on it. So after he was done, hit my insurance for over $500,000, and all my customers, there was about $3 grand left that they could disperse to us as business owners to cover our losses for the 3 or 4 months we didn't have a business to work out of. So,
Oh,
like I said,
wow.
man, I've been through just about everything you can imagine, man. From fires, that it flooded. When the flood happened here in 16, 98% of the parish I live in was flooded. Uh, uh, they cut my fence down and stole 17 bikes one night. We got 16 of them back. Uh, Man, I've done been through about everything, man, from customers not paying me and writing me bad checks to calling and claiming that they didn't order that, and taking money back on credit cards. So it's took me years to figure out every which way to make sure I cover my ass. So
Wow. I can only imagine. Like we're here at Silverback Garage now, and Justin's. They just moved to this location. Shoot, they've been here. I want to say 3 or 4 months now. We helped them move over here from their last location, and I couldn't imagine. Like I thought I wanted to own my own shop one day, and I'm really glad I don't.
man, it's all started. I worked for a cat in Baton Rouge, man. That I don't. I have mixed feelings about the guy now. I thought real high of him, and not that he's. I think he never had bad intentions, man. I think the guy just couldn't really manage money. And um, I learned a lot of what to do and what not to do from him. In fact, I had a ton of customers like, man, you need to open your own shop, or I'm not coming over there because he owns it. It was stuff like that all the time. I don't come from nothing, man. My mom and dad paid $50,000 for the house I grew up in. They didn't have nothing. My dad just worked hard, so did my mom. So I've my fondest of memories was Saturday mornings. My dad would take and tie a bandana around the handle on a push mower, and I'd hold the second rung, where the little things are, the little wing nuts are,
Yep.
and push mow the arm like that, man. So they put it in me since I was young, man, to work. And my dad was a heat and air guy, man. If you know anything about South Louisiana, the heat, it ain't nothing nice in the summer, man. So getting up there doing change outs, it'd be 140 degrees in somebody's attic, man. And they I just kind of mom and dad always did everything. You kind of, it don't matter if you're scrubbing the toilet, you put 100% into it, do it right, and there won't be a second time. So
Hmm.
I worked for this guy, nobody liked him, man. And everybody's like, oh, you need to open your own shop. The one thing he never wanted me to really learn, I think, was how to build a motor. So he would let me tear them down or whatever, and then clean them. And, I'd sit there in a parts washer, clean everything for him and all that. And I started out, honestly, got laid off at a plant one night doing electrical work or whatever. On a turnaround, they did a layoff, and I was collecting my unemployment and kind of hanging out with some buddies. And one of them said, "Man, you want to change oil and four wheelers and sweep floors?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "He'll pay you, X amount of money in cash." And as long as the government's not watching, I was not collecting cash and unemployment because I would never do a thing like that. So, I cut my little was kind of double dipping there or whatever. And then when it ran out, I was like, man, I kind of like doing this crap. So I kept messing with it. And Stephen Ridley was still playing for LSU. We all went out to a workout. So I was on the next one. So we were trying to finish up his bike. And at the time, I was still just the idiot pushing the broom and changing oil. So the snorkels weren't finished. So I tried to finish it. And the boss man comes out there and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, this bike's got to be done today. And he's like, you don't know how to snorkel nothing. I'm like, dude, it's sewer pipe. It's not that hard.
Right.
And he's like, all right, then hot shot, figured out. Well, then I did it. And I'm like, look, I went and looked at another razor. I'm like, okay, that's easy enough. So then, I did it or whatever. And he's like, all right. I was like, look, I think if we change this fit into this, you could put this back panel back on and you wouldn't have to pull the foam out or any of that. And then I got to where I was really good, man. I really built my name snorkeling stuff. Uh, before everybody had a quality kit out, I'd hard pipe everything, man. I hard pipe 660 Grizzlies before, which I don't know if you ever messed with one of them, but that's
I,
not an easy task by no means.
and trust me, I know all about those things.
I took a crawfish pot or a big pot and boiled water in it. We put PVC pipe in it and made the PVC pipe get malleable. And I took welding gloves and pushed it down and made it flat to where I could get underneath the motor with it. And
Oh, that's cheating.
man, I've done all, bro. You name it. I've snorkeled gators before where they got that big opening on the belt box. I took a put fiberglass resin on there and fiberglassed it and put me a coupling on it with a conduit nut on the backside and cut it off flush. And
Wow.
I'm doing all kinds of crap. But I don't know why. I don't like somebody telling me I can't do something, man. The worst thing in the world to do is bet against me because then I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Well, hey, you can't build a custom cage for my Honda Talon.
I don't know how to weld anymore. I forgot. But I got a guy. Trey Matthews, where you at, bro?
Hey, it sounded good, right?
Yeah, man. They I don't see a whole lot of those, man. And I've always said that, bro. The Talons, I think, would look way better with a custom cage.
Oh yeah.
I've seen Casey Ferguson over there at Cypher. He did one, came through here a while back, man, and it was pretty sharp.
That's one of the things I want to do. Aaron's ears perked up earlier when we were talking before the GoPro went out. When you said, "Yeah, I got plasma table, I got pipe bender, and all that," and Aaron's like, "Oh, really?" Like his ears perked up, and I'm like, "Don't get any fucking eyes." I'm sitting here going, "Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything."
Yeah, man, I just, man, it's I try to wear too many hats, man, and it puts me behind. So I quit messing with all that crap. But
Well,
yeah,
we keep telling ourselves we're going to end up buying one of those rogue benders and just a notcher, and we're going to build our own cages. That way, we're not getting into it like as a job, but we want to do it for our own. And every time we talk about it, I'm like, I'm down to do it, but at the same time, that's a lot of money for one or two cages.
yeah, that's how Bryce told me. I didn't know that until we sitting there, bullshitting around at Nationals, man. We was sitting there tonight, Bryce or Whiskey Biz, everybody else knows him.
Right.
He was like, yeah, man, I probably got 30 or 40 cages out there. I was like, bro, I didn't even know that, man, he's pretty sharp, man. He impresses me every time I talk to him about something, I had him FaceTime Layla, my oldest one, at Mike and Randy's wedding. And she said, oh my God, crying and all. She's like, you're Whiskey Biz. I'm like, well, his name is Bryce. You can calm down and breathe now. This is Miss Page's wife, These kids are still, man, shocked. So she's got a nice little Razor 800, so of course she's got a little boyfriend now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 420 gang with the 5 foot tall snorkel.
Nice.
So yeah, I think she met him through TikTok talking shit on mud riding videos, actually.
Nice.
He's a good kid though, man. I just put a motor back in his bike for him. So.
Oh, there you go. Hey, you gotta. Hey, just remember, as long as he owes you, you'll never be broke.
Bro, you don't even want to get me started on that. I think I've done forgot how many people owe me something.
Right.
My favorite's when they show up 2 years later, like, hey, I still owe you $40 for that wheel bearing. I'm like, oh, well, I'll take that now.
Well, that's one of those wheel bearing because I've done 5,000 of them. So, but well, on that note, we're gonna go through our sponsors real quick. This episode is brought to you by 361 Racing. Don't mess with Texas. Visit their Facebook page at Side by Side Drag Racing. Dale's Fun Center in Victoria, Texas, giving family fun for over 40 years. Visit dalesfuncenter.com. KB Longhorn Welding, LLC. Visit them on Facebook at KB Longhorn Welding. And Trashy Inc., not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. There you go, Anthony. Go visit them and buy some merch at trashyinc.life.
Man, they got all kinds of new stuff.
I would... Every time I go online, and it's just every time I go online, I'm like, hey, I want these ones. Sold out.
Nah, I don't know how they keep up with any of that, man. I really don't.
Well, no. And then I run into Cabo and I'm like, hey, it says it's sold out online. And she's like, yeah. She goes, that's because it's all in the store right now. I'm like,
well, they just had the baby, so
oh, yeah.
Slack. No, they.
No. It's specifically like the ones that I want. Everything else is there. It's just the ones I want. That's like, we're only doing this for a short time. It's limited run. I knew it. Yeah. Like those ones.
Yeah, they in fact, somebody wanted a 2X when they come in here, and I'm a 2 fat, so a guy coming here wanted one of those, and I was like, here's mine out of the office. That one's Kelly's. What size is that one? He don't wear that. He's bigger than me.
I know. It's one of those limited ones.
Is it a 3X?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say because that's me.
Yeah, they even make stuff in Taylor size, man. But my brother's a 4X. So
Oh,
We're 10 years apart, and he dwarfs me. You know, I don't think I'm a small guy by no means, but
yeah. Little bike for a little guy.
yeah, they man, I'm excited you coming down here. I wish all the guys were, but we're gonna try to get out and ride a lot more, do a lot more. I want to go see. I want to do the Hatfield McCoy trails and stuff like that too. So
Oh, see, those are bucket list things for us because I want to do Hatfield McCoy. I want to go do the Rubicon.
yeah,
That's like a bucket list for me is go do the Rubicon and load up and take 3 days and disappear.
yeah. My uncle's been going up to Utah a bunch and doing Moab and all that
Moab.
stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they go up there and rent bikes half the time. He's got a Pro XP and all, but he goes. I'm thinking at about 6 miles on it last time I seen it, and he's at it about a year. He backs it out of his garage, I think, to sweep his garage out. That's about it.
Well,
But
but that's the funny thing too is that's a completely different riding style than what we build ours for. So it's tough for us to go. All right, we're gonna go do this. You know, so
yeah, it's
that's
crazy, man, the amount of difference that everybody does with stuff. That's what I was talking about earlier with the piece of the pie and how much is actually mud industry, man. We think it's everything. And to be honest,
it's not.
you talk to anybody up north and all, we're a bunch of drunk rednecks according to them,
Oh, well, so I'm originally from the Northwest. I cut my teeth riding trails up there, and we build trucks with exoskeletons because we bounce everything off of trees. The rock bouncer thing is actually pretty popular up there, but it's not rock bouncing; it's just making it up the side of the mountain. And
Yeah, and we don't have that down here. So everybody's like, I don't know why you do that. Because I live in a swamp, man.
yeah,
That's what we have.
that's it.
I run a business. I can't just take off and haul ass to Utah every weekend to ride.
When I moved down here to Texas, it was mind-boggling that I've always heard about bogging, but it never piqued my interest or anything because I rode trails.
Yeah.
I had an 85 or 80, yeah, 85 Bronco. I had an 85 Bronco on 33s, and I could pretty much take it wherever I wanted to go. I get down here, and it's all about big lifted, high horsepower, big tires in a big old mud hole, and you just go out there and spin tires and throw mud. And I'm like, okay, that's not really that interesting to me. But now I'm in it. Like, I love it.
Yeah, there's nothing else in it. We don't have that big of an option out besides out here. The mud parks. I guess you consider Gulf Coast. I'm at Baton Rouge. I'm an hour and a half or so from New Orleans. Uh, it's we don't have that kind of terrain out here. South Mississippi, the few mud parks that's out there, the few that's out here, it's nothing. It's mud and that's it. But when you go to Sabine and River Run, there's every ride style there is. My little brother finally went with me the first time to River Run for the first Battle of the Build stop, and that's when someone blew the no that the wastegate was that's when we blew the intercooler up. The wastegate wasn't wastegating. Then I popped the intercooler, so it was just pouring white smoke the whole time. In fact,
Nice.
I didn't even know y'all was there until after the fact because I was up for like 2 days and was a
Oh no,
walking
no,
zombie basically.
I was gonna say I wasn't at River Run.
I thought y'all were at River Run for some reason.
No, we didn't make the first stop. We were
Okay,
supposed to be there, but didn't make the first stop.
maybe so. I don't remember who was there and who wasn't, bro. I was a walking zombie.
Well, that's why I'm like, I am not missing stop number 2.
Yeah, I always do pretty well at tower tracks, man. I don't know if it's because it's my home park or that's where my dad and me always rode and stuff. And he got into it after. In fact, I'd bought a Ranger 800 for $1,100, I think, that the dude had slung a rod through. And trucks go wild. Rolled around one April, and we was dicking around in the shop and ran across a set of cases on like a Tuesday. And I said, "Man, I don't know what 800 cases these are, because I know they're not Ranger cases. I don't have a set of Ranger cases." I said 800 Sportsman that I got a motor out of one time. I kept the cases, and I'm like, "Hold up, I think these will work in this Ranger." So on like a Tuesday night, me and my buddy Brandon decided we was going to take this Ranger, and we were going to dig through all my parts and find a good crank and a good set of pistons and all this crap. So we go through a bunch of pistons, and I don't know why I did it, but when I used to tear down motors, I would take all the bearings and throw them in a bucket. So I
Hmm.
have this bucket of about 40 freaking case bearings. So we dig through them and wash them out. And go through them and get out which is the bad stuff on them. I'm like, all right, this one looks good, and this one looks good. So I went to Outdoor Powerhouse. I did them and picked up a set of rings for these 800 pistons, and then called in a gasket kit or something. So I had about $110 tied up in this motor, and we put this 800 Ranger motor together out of pieces laying around the shop, and it still runs to this day like a top. Uh,
Nice.
and we took it to Mud Nashville. I mean, took it to Trucks Go Wild, man, and that was my dad's first bike, man. They gave it to my dad or whatever. We had about $1,500 tied up the whole thing. A dude come in, had a busted set of 212 ITPs and wanted some stock rims. So I traded in the stock Ranger wheels for these three ITP 212s. I only had to buy me one more. And then I got some 30-inch intercodes off somebody for something. I don't remember. I think I had some 27-inch bighorns or something. So I put them on that. Then they rubbed. So back when Outcast Fabworks was still a thing, Jody, I was a real big. I pushed a bunch of his Polaris stuff, man. So Jody gave me a set of Ford A arms for it, and we built this Ranger out of nothing, man. And Brad's still running to this day. That's why I kind of like those 800 so much, man. They're just little sewing machines. They don't make much horsepower. They don't make enough to break themselves, you know.
Well, depends on who's driving, because I know a couple of people that could break them.
Yeah. Then actually, when my mom retired, man, she told my dad she'd buy him a set of portals. So that was it on some 4-inch portals, man. And she I still have the boxes, man. They kind of dear to me, so I kept them. They're not even installed anything, man. They're just sitting in my engine room, you know.
Right.
But yeah, they we kept them all these years. I put them on that 900 Ranger Crew that I got, and I sold that bike to my uncle. Actually, it's at his camp, and I bought a 900 Ranger Crew that was wrecked, uh, and put the 4-inch boxes on it, and then I actually took the 8s off my race bike and put them on that Ranger, and that's normal. We cruise around in is a Ranger, you know, it's the beer buggy, and the man, the little 800 though, man, is still going to this day. We slapped it together in 2 or 3 nights and took it to Trucks Go Wild, man, and rode the crap out of it. So I let everybody in their mama borrow the thing constantly, man. My dad would ride it. He'd come out and ride. In fact, Layla was probably 9 or 10, man, and she'd drive him around the whole time, you know. No power steering on it, nothing. So she's she's had I guess a different growing up, you know. She's mainly raised by me, you know. So Kelly calls her my first son, you know. She a good kid, man.
Well, that's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, I was not excited for the boyfriends yet.
Hey,
What you gonna do about it, you know?
I, hey, I'm dreading it, dude. I got a 4-year-old daughter, and I'm just dreading it. Although at the same time, her little attitude, I'm pretty sure that whoever ends up dealing with her is I commend them.
Oh, you know I am. I don't have a filter, man. So you already know that, you know, that one's been people's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh no, she is way worse, man. I can promise you.
Hey, I met Kelly, so I can only imagine.
Oh, come on. She ain't that bad.
Oh yeah, but something tells me that you'd be frightened of her when she gets pissed.
She's done calmed down a lot since having 2 kids. You know, we got Layla and then Dawson 7 and Tate just turned 2 last week. So we would have had him first. I'd never have any more kids, I can tell you that. And if my mom and dad were still here, I'd apologize to him for all the shit I put them through because I get it back tenfold from his little ass. I can promise you.
Yeah,
He's terrible, dude.
That's how I feel about Carly. Carly's horrible. Kaysen, I've got Kaysen here with me with the podcast. He's come in and out, and you didn't even know he was here, did you?
Nah.
He's
Oh,
quiet.
you know mine's here. Mine will be right here. Dead. All of them.
No. Kaysen's easy. Carly, on the other hand, oh yeah, she'd be up here going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So
Oh, yeah.
no, like I said, I'm excited for Battle of the Builds. You know, it's stop 2. What else you got going on with the shop? I mean, you guys got anything coming up?
Oh, just trying to honestly, man. I quit taking in bikes. So it's I don't want to say I'm behind, but there's just so much crap here, man. It's been here so long. There's stuff, man. People bring me stuff, man, and it's terrible as a shop owner because you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be like, hey, look, you know, I'm about to have this stuff hauled off the tow truck. Like, your shit's been here a year, bro. Shit or get off the pot. Either come pay me or pick it up. And there's some stuff, man, that the worst thing in the world is to tell me don't get in any rush because that thing's gonna sit here 3 or 4 months until you call me again. It's like, hey, what's it look like? And then you got to come bring a deposit to pull the motor out, and they're calling you 2 days later, wants to know when it's gonna be done.
Yeah.
and I quit working. I used to be like, hey, when do you need it by? And I tried that mentality, but life still happens, man. I had one that just left here that we did everything by the books. The day the man come pay me my money, I ordered his portals. I got his portals in the next day. And the same day I called and ordered some portal plates to go on this bike. And the guy that builds a portal was building those particular set of portal plates for me. He's like, all right, look, I'm out of these bushing sleeves. I'm going to call the machine shop and tell them I need a set. And it wasn't his fault. Life happens, man. I know damn good and well he called it into the machine shop. He's like, hey, I need some sleeves, and it didn't happen in the little 3-week period that we had, so
Right.
the worst thing to do is to ever bet against me and tell me something, man, or tell me I won't do something. Because then I got to do it just to prove the point, I've got a couple trigger words that aren't don't do it. Aren't there's a couple of words you can't you call me one of them that not very family oriented. I'm gonna do it then just to prove the point, but yeah, they if you bet against me, man, that's the worst thing in the world. I don't want you to because I want to prove you wrong. That's just how I am.
Hey, I'm just saying, I don't think you. You know what? I know you can't build a cage for my Honda.
So anyhow, this little 800.
I like how you just like, nope, we're moving on from that.
Deflect. Oh, that thing's got to run long enough to have one.
Hey.
You ain't burned the transmission up yet?
No, fuck no.
Man, I really don't care for those bikes. I like the bike. I like the power and all that. I just don't like the transmissions in them, man.
Why? Legitimate question, because I'm on all the forums. Because I love my Honda. This is the. You know what? You're a motor builder and a transmission builder, so you are probably one of the best people to talk to you about this.
I haven't been into enough of them to know the ins and outs. I've done 2 or 3 of them, man. To be honest with you,
So
I don't do a whole bunch of them.
But
I've just seen a little bit of horror stories behind them.
So that's kind of the deal. So this is my second one. I owned a 2019 when they first came out. I bought a 2-seater X. I currently have. I never had an issue. Not one time did I have an issue out of it.
What's the deal? I know they do an IGR in them. And they do the Pioneer gears or whatever, maybe, and then there's some guys building some custom stuff for them.
So the biggest issue that I saw with the 2019s to the 21s, I think, I'm pretty sure, 2019 to 21, was a weak shift fork in the subtrans.
Yeah, so but it's expensive fix.
So it's actually not that bad. It's actually not that bad as far as taking it to a shop. It's expensive.
Right, and that's where I'm at on, man. I don't.
If you
I hate doing that. The worst thing in the world to me is seeing a ticket and it shows $39 in parts and $4,000 in labor. You know what I mean?
And that's it. It's the subtrans is not that bad of a job as far as overall cost, if you are mechanically capable of pulling it yourself. If you're able to pull it yourself and install it yourself, pull it, send it off, get the new internals done to it, send it back, no big deal. There's a guy, Adam Brown, who that is his money maker. That's his bread and butter. That dude knows those things like the back of his hand. But that was the weak point in him. But the problem was so many people they had it in their head, oh, it's a car transmission, I can just throw it in gear and go.
No.
You have to make sure it's seated before you go. And that was the problem, was they weren't getting seated, and they'd slam on the gas and the shift fork wouldn't be all the way in, and it'd slam in and break, I lost flow. Yeah, and it does it in my Arctic Cat used to grind.
Yeah. I've got an old plant buggy in here now, man, that we're doing the transmission in. That it's the worst gear sets I've ever seen in my life.
As well as I do.
It's only a 90-degree curve. This thing, what I'm telling you, it's about a 30-degree ramp. They've done grinded it down so much. When you put it in reverse, if you're not on a decline, it won't back up. If you're on flat ground, you try to back up, it won't get grabbed. It's terrible.
As well as I do. They have a shift cable. It is a cable. Those cables stretch over time.
Yeah.
So you may have to adjust. It may have an adjustment. And not only that, but let's face it, not all dealerships and not everything's put together perfect to spec.
Yeah, and there's some dealerships, man, that I believe have great employees, man. Really do.
Absolutely.
90% of them that I've ever been behind, man, I think I'd have forgot more than half their texts know. They get these guys out of school. They don't want to pay them nothing because at the end of the day, they're all about a profit, you know?
Yep.
And there's some dealerships that's totally different, man. PATV, that dude has probably some of the best techs. I mean, hell, he's got Bird over there, man. And Bird's, you know, dude's a genius when it comes down to this stuff. And there's some of them, man, that you go in there, I'm like, y'all got that dude working on stuff.
We've got some
You don't even
around
have
here that are
stocks
like
that match. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. No, I totally get you on that. But so Honda addressed that issue because that was an issue that a lot of people brought up with the 19s to the 21s. Don't ask me exactly what they did, but I know with my 22, because I currently have that four-seater 22, I've never, not once, had an issue with it grinding or anything. That also being said, there are some things I don't like about it, but everybody picks something up out of their machines that they don't like.
Oh, every machine, man. That's what it was. What's the best one? There's not an answer to that. To be
No,
honest, man. It depends on what your intentions are from day one.
I have
And
so
really
many
how
people
much
that
you want to
ask
put into
me,
maintenance, you know?
yeah, well, I have so many people ask me, they're like, well, what do you think I should get? I can't tell you what you should get. You need to sit down and you go, what are you going to do with it? What are your intentions to do with it? And what do you have to have versus don't have to have? Because if you're wanting to use it for the ranch and sometimes go out and ride it on the trails and have a good time, you're looking at a ranger, a commander, a general, a defender. You're looking at more of a ranch style, a mule. I had a mule. I loved my mule. It wasn't sporty enough for me, so I got rid of it.
I hate those
Everybody
things.
makes sport like
Dude, I had a Pro FXT. I just had a little lift on it, oversized, or the heavy
I
duty
wouldn't even
springs.
admit that to the general public. What's
Oh,
wrong
dude,
with you?
I love that thing. It was indestructible and
Did
it
you
was
have the
comfortable.
hydraulic dump out though?
No,
Oh, see, you got to go all out if you're gonna get.
it was great for throwing the kids in and going fishing.
Well, yeah, I can see that. Or picking limbs up out of the yard.
Yeah, it was great for working at the ranch. But as soon as I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ride with it, and I'm like, this is boring. This is not it. It's
That's like
underpowered.
school bus seats, man.
Yeah, like I got rid of it.
Yeah,
So
they what's the
it's
rest of the guys got? I know one of them's got a
so
Ranger.
Aaron's got a 2020 KRX that we've
That's right.
put forward A arms on 6-inch boxes. He's setting on 40s.
Those are
Chop
strong little
cage.
machines, man. They that's probably the best riding thing I've ever been in from the factory.
Bruce also has a KRX. He's got a 20. It's either a 20 or a 21. I think it's a 21 ES. So it's got the live valve, the Fox shocks, the
Yeah.
electronic shocks. Custom cage. He's got 6-inch boxes, 40-inch tires, 40s or 42s. I don't remember. Custom wrap, full custom wrap, stuff like that. So, and then he's also got that. Well, his girlfriend, wife, Eliza. It's his wife. Fuck it. I'll say
Bougie.
it.
Yeah, the bougie buggy.
Yeah, she's got the bougie buggy.
Yeah, like
And
Camo.
yeah, it's well, hers actually has a sticker that says bougie, and it is wrapped in Louis Vuitton, so it's bougie. Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure Kelly don't listen because then I'm gonna get in trouble. Well, I bought her that Pro XP.
well, there you go.
Well, then I sold it to Trey and Cabo because it's Jinx, man. We ordered it, and I think 2 weeks later, I'm playing Xbox one night, playing Call of Duty with Russell Coker and I think Les Kubak and Russell's brother Richard. I might have been on there too, man. And she comes in there waving this little stick in my face, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" You know, on like a Sunday evening. So
Hey,
we bought a 2-seater Pro XP because Layla was old enough to drive her own buggy, and it was so small that I'm like, let's get something. My parents both were still alive at the time, whatever. So I didn't really have that 4-seater Ranger in my possession. It was really from my dad.
right,
Uh, uh, so I was like, hey, we're gonna get this little 2-seater turbo and we'll make it street legal, and then we can go to Tennessee and stuff. We'll bring this with us, and a lot of times we take off on vacation to get away from the kids in life. It's just me and her. It's not
Mhm.
always with the kids. So we wanted to do something different. I want to try to street legal it, get ahead of that. Then I have a huge conscience, man, and I was like, I really don't want to get in street legal of these buggies because if somebody gets hurt, man, I'm gonna feel like it's my fault that they got killed because I'm the one that street legal their buggy. So I kind of I didn't chase it anymore like I wanted to originally, and I sold the bike to Train Cabo, and Next thing you know, now we got baby Atlas, their kid. So they just sold it to another guy, and we forewarned him when he picked it up. Hey man, uh,
This
something
bike
about this
comes with
buggy.
kids.
Everybody's old lady ends up pregnant. So
Just so you know, this Pro XP equals
yeah,
BABY.
it's I don't know what the deal is with that, man. But so you have kids, so I guess that's why you got a 4-seater.
That's exactly well. So originally it was just gonna be my 2-seater, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah. And then my wife started going, and she loves riding. She absolutely loves it. And then we had Kaysen, and that's part of the reason why we got the mule, because I was like, well, get something that we can throw his car seat in and cruise around with, something that's gonna be easy, not beat him up or anything. We did that, and then the mule, I didn't like the mule too much. So, or I mean, I loved the mule for what it was, but for riding the type of riding I wanted to do, it just wasn't conducive. And I bought the 2-seater Talon, and I was going to do the bump seat in the center, and it just Honda came out with the 4-seaters, and I was like, man, I really want the four. I want the longer wheelbase. The longer
Ride's so
wheelbase
much
is what I
better too.
wanted. And I was like, man, I want that longer wheelbase. And yeah, we got the 4-seater, and funny thing is, he doesn't even ride with us anymore. If there's an empty seat with somebody else, he's jumping in with somebody else.
That's the only problem with having that crew, man. I got that Ranger crew, like I said, that was my dad's, and I put doors on it and all that. So, of course, we're riding it, and somebody's like, "Hey, man, no, I'll put my kid in the back seat," and I'm like, I mean, if he wants to learn about, you know,
Birds and the bees.
doing dope and slinging guns or whatever rap music my lady's playing that night, then yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Yeah, that's the only problem having a 4-seater, man. You always got open seats. So
I don't mind it so much because it's actually worked out for us at River Run. We were at River Run one weekend, and a buddy of mine's Razor, his voltage regulator burnt up. Uh, and it was Saturday night, and he's like, "Man, I don't want the rest of the weekend to get ruined." And I was like, "Dude, I got 2 extra seats. Y'all just jump in with us, and you guys can just drink and have a good time." They jumped in with us, and they rode for a few more hours with us, and they were like, "Dude, this is awesome." Like they
that's
thought
goes
their
back to
weekend.
what I said earlier, man. You ain't got to have a buggy, alcohol, food, nothing, man. You can
Yeah,
show up barefoot. Somebody's gonna clothe you and put you in a buggy.
yeah, like they thought their weekend was ruined, and it wasn't. And then vice versa, Mudnats. Brody's buggy quit charging. Stator went out, and he was like, "Well, you don't mind that we jump in with?" No, dude, that's why I have 4 seats. I have 4 seats to where if some of my friends, because I feel bad if I got to leave friends at camp.
Yep,
That's just how I am. And if I got an open seat, you're more than welcome to it.
man. We've took 3 or 4 broken buggies and built one.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
I have changed tires in the middle of the trail.
oh, we've done that, man. It was Muddy Joe's. I don't know what it was called. It's gonna change hands a couple times. It was called the park. It was called Muddy Joe's. It was called something else over in Mississippi. It's not Red Creek. It's the other park that's right there by. They've closed down since then. But we went one night. You would go down through this like little canal thing, and it said enter at your own risk. It was all old cutover. So when you would start making a trail, if the second or third set of tires went through that same little trail, you were digging down and hitting blackjack, and you weren't coming out of it. So we get back up in this crap, man, and one of these boys rolls. Hell, I think 2 of his beads off his tires. Everybody's getting stuck. So we got like a Foreman 500 that's not stuck. That's it. We got like 6 boogies stuck in this 4. So I think I was the soberest one out of the group that knew how to get back to camp. So me and this guy get on this Foreman. I think it was me, this guy, and his old lady. And I'm like, hey, go this way, go this way, go this way. We get back to camp, and I start going up everybody's campers, knocking on doors. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, look, we're stuck. We need a book of a winch. So we end up waking some people up. We get out there and we got another bike unstuck. Well, then we're rolling tires off a bead. So we get somebody parked somewhere and get him out, take his tires off, go back here, put them on this one where we can drive it out. Yeah, I've done all kinds of crap, man. I've
Oh,
changed discs before in the park.
I lost.
Uh,
I had some A arms come apart in the middle of the trail. Uh, Ratchet strap it back together just to get back to
yep,
camp. Now I've got a little suitcase welder
yep.
that'll run on a generator. I keep that in the truck now for when we go. That way, for some reason, I can always run back to camp, grab the generator. We can do some welding on the trail if we have to.
Yeah, what I carry Man, I used to take that enclosed to a bunch of these events and filling up with parts and all. It's not worth it, man. Not with a little bit of profit that's in the crap, and it's not always about the money with me. It's really about, trying to make everybody sure they have a good weekend. But, you know, there's not a big markup on this stuff, man. So, you're already dealing with internet pricing and all that crap. And then, the worst thing in the world is you go sell somebody a part and, there is event pricing, just like there is with those cabins and stuff, man. You go stay at a cabin at one of these parks and it might be $90 a night. You go to an event weekend, it's $250 a night.
Oh yeah,
And I don't want to do that to nobody, man. You buy a belt, we'll just call it $140 and you sell it for 170 or 180, Then on an event weekend, you could probably get 250 for it, but I don't want to do that. And anybody be like, he sold me this belt for this, it's just not who I am as a person. So I try to stay out of it, man. But when I do go ride, I normally like to grab whoever's with me directly. I'll grab normally a complete fuel pump assembly. There's Polaris and Can-Am relays in the doors of every vehicle I own. From the little Dodge Charger shop car I got that Brandon's driving around to Kelly's Tahoe and my truck. There's relays in the doors of all of them. I normally take fuel pumps with me, relays, avoider for pump belts.
There has been a couple times now that I've had to do the trail fix of the fuel pump.
Yep.
Yeah, the
I'm trying to
shove
remember
a
what else
rock in there or a stick and
extra hive joints I keep with me. I keep a Keller rebuild or a Dirt Mafia or any of them. The rebuilds for 1,000 and in the glove box of my Ranger, there's a stud and a cap for a 900 or 1,000 in the glove box of the Ranger. Hell, man,
there's one problem with all of that.
what's
I
that?
don't know. I don't own a Polaris.
Well, everybody's got to graduate one day.
Hey, not everybody's got to be perfect like myself.
Yeah, man, I'm a Polaris guy through and through, man. But
Hey.
When it comes to ATVs, man, I like the Can-Am stuff on the four-wheelers themselves. And honestly, when they come in here and they ask me, like, hey, what's the best four-wheeler to buy? I'm like, what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride a little bit, but I want to hunt off of it and all that too. I'm like a Rubicon foot shift, man. You can't beat a Honda foot shift, but
you realize how, so I do a little bit of work out of my shop for friends and stuff like that. And I've got a couple ranchers that they ask me to keep up on their maintenance. And they're always, hey, I'm getting ready to replace a four-wheeler. What do you think I should get? And I'm like, what are you using it for? Well, it's going to go to this ranch hand that he's just going to be out spraying fences. Man, just go get you a Honda Rubicon. Like it can be parked and he can get on it tomorrow, the next day, and it's going to go. And if it doesn't, it's not that bad to fix.
Yeah, I don't care the older Honda Ruby stuff that had the automatic with that torque converter thing in it.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, that's super expensive when they break. But that's kind of why I was so against like the Pioneer 1Ks stuff and the Talons and stuff, man. They're just the cost of the parts are so costly, man. And it's not that none of them are cheap by no means. Nothing's cheaper than the next one, but far as available options, the Polaris stuff, obviously there's a bunch of options on the transmission stuff. And every last one of them has a weak point, man. There's no bike that's perfect by no means. Not a single one.
I've had the same conversation with I don't know how many people. And as much as I don't want to say I don't like them, but I don't. I'm just not a fan of Polaris. It's just how I am. I'm not a real big fan of Can-Am, just because working on them is sometimes a little bit of a pain in the ass. That whole sideways motor thing, just I don't like it. It's not something I like. But the aftermarket for Can-Am and for
the
Polaris
support out there is huge, man. The
it's
Talon's getting there too.
It's working on it, and the KRX is working on it also.
Yep.
But it's just like literally you can go buy any Polaris and there's an aftermarket.
Correct.
You can't buy any Honda. You can't buy any Kawasaki.
I have Digi-Wrench and I have Buds for the Can-Am stuff, and that's kind of where I'm going to go that direction. And it's not that I've had 7 or 8 employees, man, and was stressed out and made just as much money as having 2 employees. So I think in all, to try to have a better one-on-one experience with customers, I think I'm going to just lean back towards Can-Am and Polaris because that really is my strong points. I know more about them than anything, man. You can give me a Razor 800 or a Razor 900 or 1000 or a Ranger or even an Outlander or any of those. You can give me one of those two in a bucket, man. I can tell you where every nut and butt goes. Uh, and I'm kind of that way with like a 420 Rancher and a 500. I've done quite so many of them, man. I can pretty much put one of them together. I can open them up and be like, hey, I don't know who was in this, but this shim and this shim's not in the right positions. I've done enough of those too, I know. But and honestly, man, and it's not a jab at anybody, but when you own a $6,000 or $7,000 4-wheeler and to get it corrected the right way, and it needs $2,000 of the work to be done correctly, they don't want to do that, man. They want a
No,
$500 option, and it's like I said, it's not about money, man. There's a lot of stuff I sell that I don't make a lot of money.
it's
Uh,
it's it's get it running 90% of the time.
and to be honest, man, there's a couple of guys that I look up to in this industry that have been mentors to me and have done more for me than some of my own uh, blood has. Russell Coker at 3P, man, that dude has done so much for me. It's unreal. Uh, Russ has been like a huge mentor to me, man. But he sells a badass product, man, and it's not a knock at him or anything. There's just not enough to be competitive to keep his pricing correct and to be competitive in the market. You have to sell at X amount of money. So he doesn't give us a huge margin on it. There's money in it, but not nothing like you can buy, we'll call it EPI clutch kit, man, for X amount of dollars and sell it for half of what Russell is, and you make money on it. But I buy a kit from Russell and I'll sell it because it works, not because there's a huge price point in it. And a
Right.
lot of these guys out there, man, are fly by night shops and shit like, oh, I'm gonna make money on it. Man, you can to a point, but are you really selling a quality product? I'd rather sell something that works than sell something to make a buck on it, man. And there's tons of shit like that, man. I've sold stuff before that I'm not even a dealer for and ordered it on my dime and put it on somebody's bike and make a single penny on it. I made my labor, but at the end of the day, it's still about trying to keep the doors open. And all my guys have kids. We're all family people, so it's not that I'm paying just them, man. It's he's bringing a check home to his wife and his kid.
Mhm.
So it's more than that. Man, I kind of sell crap around here that works, not just to sell it. And there's a huge support for the Can-Am and Polaris, like you mentioned. So that's really my strong points. And I think in order to try to provide a better service and try to get my time frame down on Diag and stuff, I'm currently about 3 or 4 weeks out. You drop something in, it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks before I look at it. There's 120 bikes here. Any rep that walks in here and looks around like, bro, how the hell do you know? How do you keep up with all this? I'm like, oh, I just do. Uh,
I don't know.
the guys from Demon Axles were here a couple weeks ago, right after Mud Dats,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Dude, you got more bikes in here than most of the dealerships do." Yeah, I'm the guy when they get tired of dealing with the dealerships around here, they bring it to me, and I'm like, "Look, dude, Stroud told me one time a long time ago, man. One of the things Jeff Stroud told me said, you want it right, or you want it right now." I'm like, all right. So it's kind of stuck with me, man. Like I said, man, Russ has taught me a lot of stuff. Uh, I'm real good buddies with a bunch of these guys, man. In fact, me and Destin Andrews at Mudmasters, we're going to Russ's in a couple weeks, man, to do a little bit of stuff. We got to get Ruger on the next level, and I think he's got a couple of things he's trying to fix with Grumpy. So I
Well,
feel
I
good
know
about Power Tracks. So I think we're gonna show up and show out.
I'm like I said, I'm excited for Tower Tracks. I know we've discussed on the phone, and you said you got some things kind of in the works. Don't want to put it all out there until you know for sure it's happening. So, I'm excited to see,
Some
really.
little things in the works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to put it back on there, man.
Well, I figured you would.
Yeah, that's definitely for Cummins, not for the bike.
You sure? I'm pretty sure,
That
4 or 5
probably
little turbos will move that one.
yeah.
Compound turbo setup.
The nitrous kit's just sitting there, so I got to use it. But
Right.
yeah, that was talking about earlier when I ordered that stuff, man. I called Russ or whatever. I was like, hey, this jet and this jet. And he's like, man, that's not right. I'm like, yeah, it's just a 20 or 30 or 40 horse kit. And he's like, yeah, it's per cylinder, stupid. I'm like, oh shit. And he's like, yeah. So I'm real, I'm ADHD, so I'm all over the place. But we saw about that earlier. So what happened with that was basically when we went to XMC, I was like, man, if I'm driving, 9 hours over there and they're filming and all this, I got to make a presentation. So I put the biggest damn jets I had When I called Russ up, he's like, "Yeah, that's not a 40 shot, dude. That's 40 per cylinder." I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "So you're hitting it with about 80 shot of nitrous." I'm like, "No, that can't be right." And he's like, "Yeah, bro, those jets are way too big." I'm like, "Well, it ain't blown up." So I ran it like that for another year.
It ain't blown up.
Still runs to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was hitting the 88 horsepower motor with about a 70, 80 horsepower shot of dope and it never blew up.
Oh man.
But I didn't spray it the whole time, you know. It just kind of I get in and get out. It was actually on a winch switch. And
Winch in, winch in.
yeah, so the first time I wired it up, went to Jackson, Elton Swamp to race Battle of the Builds. And my first pass, I kept hitting the button and it wasn't doing nothing. And then I turned around and I checked the bottle and I'm like, well, I got bottle pressure. And I hit the purge button. I'm going through the mounting hole, messing with all kinds of crap, and nothing's working. So then I'm like, what the hell, man? So then I got out of the mounting hole. I went behind down the little side road there and I reached over there and I drilled it and I hit down on the winch again and it didn't do nothing. So then I let off and I did it again and I hit up on it and the bike said, whoop, and picked up the wheels. And I'm like, holy shit, this thing just wheelied. So then I turned around and I did it again and I wielded it from a dead dig and hit it. And I never ran it to TPS or anything like that. I literally had it on a winch switch, on a momentary switch. You'd have to hit in to make it right, you know, to spray.
Wow.
The purge button I had on another little switch or whatever. But when I figured it out, I'm like, okay. So then, you know, after that, it was let's figure out how much we can make this thing wheelie. And I used to run a lot more air pressure and stuff. And the more I kept playing with it, the more I figured out how to make it wheelie. And then, you know, still at STX Showdown last year, man, some kids knew who it was. Right out the back, like, man, that's the Willie bike. They're like, ride a Willie, ride a Willie. And I'm like, all right. So I sprayed it behind y'all. I don't know if y'all noticed me do it. When I come out the hole, I think on the first pass, yeah, because it was dark on the second pass.
Uh-huh.
On the first pass, there were some kids there trying to tell me to Willie. So I stopped and popped a Willie and set it back down, you know.
Oh, well, they're at Mud Nationals. Cabo was sitting there trying to get the crowd to holler at you, wheelie, wheelie.
Yeah. And since I've been playing with it a little bit, we got a little bit. We've been edging up on what it's going to do. Me and Russell's been data logging it, and I sent it back and forth with him. Right now, I think we got it called over about 24 pounds of boost. When I drilled it the other night, it was acting right for once. I've been fighting a little bit of stuff. When I bought all that stuff, that all came from Jamie Casino. He's the one that put that 4-cylinder motor with the Pro Charger on it.
Right.
And Nightmare is what it's called now. Before, I don't know if the bike really had a name or not. He bought the bike, I think, in 2019 as a turbo razor and built it with the purpose of being a bounty bike. It didn't have about 400 miles on it, I think. That's a full cryo heat transmission or cryo heat pro mod.
Mm-hmm.
The front diff was from cryo heat. I opened everything up when I got it because, like I said, that's who I am as a person. I'm gonna open stuff up and look. And in fact, Jamie not only gave me a hellacious deal on all that stuff, he held it for months, man. Everybody booty tagged me. And everybody's like, Ant, you need this, Ant, you need this, you know, to take you bike to the next level. And I don't come for nothing, man. I didn't have the money for that. So Jamie held it and let me get my pennies together to go get it. And, you know, we put it in the bike or whatever. And right off the bat, I had some issues, man. I'm like, bro, why ain't the sensor reading? You know, what did I hook this up wrong? Whatever. Well, they had stretched that chassis over time and it was nothing that they did. In fact, they told me they had the wire. And I want to say a race car shop did extended most of the wire for them. It had been like crossed up, soldered, heat shrink, wrapped in Tessa tape, that carpeted tape,
Yep.
and then put it back in the loom. Man, it was done better than what I would have normally done, you know, myself. The wire they used itself, and it was color coded, man. If it was a green white wire, it might have been green with a black stripe, but it was still a green wire. They had green wire. It was all color coded, man. It was done beautiful. The wire itself broke down that they used. So the first thing right off the bat, we was having issues with sensors not reading stuff. So we noticed that at Trey's house the first nights we got it to crank up and all that. And I would start messing with it. And I'd start cutting the wire back and I'd find corrosion in the wire. So we extended the wire with what wire Trey had at the house. So we ended up, we needed some, I was like, look, you know, I don't want to just put black wire on everything to extend it. And Trey said, well, here's 20 foot of trailer wire. And I said, that should have worked. Give me that. So we used trailer wire, which if you look at the back of the bike, there's a
green,
plug.
brown, yellow, white.
Yeah, there's a trailer wire, the little plug to hook the trailer lights up. is zip tied up on the back of the bike and hanging. Everybody's like, "Why is there a trailer plug?" I'm like, "In case I want to pull something." It's not really wired or anything. It's just there to make people ask questions, you know.
Oh man.
I don't know if you ever seen. I did hook the gooseneck to the bike one night. I put a 2 5/16 ball on the back of it and pulled my 36-foot gooseneck with a Ruger across the front.
I did see that. I did see that.
Well, everyone was sharing the video of that Pioneer pulling that little trailer, a spool,
Mhm.
spool trailer on that little Pioneer, the little 14-foot. So, like I said, I got to one up everybody. So,
There you go. That's
yeah,
funny.
we got some plans with it though, man. I'd like to say I'd hit about 300 horsepower with it, but I know my wife would never allow that. Plus, my pocketbook and had made out to do that. So,
Oh man, I thought you were going for 6.
shit. Do I look like Bill Rabe or somebody, man? I ain't got that kind of money.
It
Cordell, one of them boys.
sounded
Yeah,
good.
they got some serious machines, man. I was excited to go to run Southern Bounty Series for once, man. And I told Tony, man, I was like, bro, this is controlled chaos. It's nuts, man.
Oh,
Tony does a
dude.
fine job of that stuff, man. It was
I give
uh
him a kudos. I don't understand how he can
yeah.
how he keeps it going. Like,
Hell, you know, Simon and Jeff and Booty make it look easy, man, with Battle of the Bills, you know. But, you know, we ran a couple events. Me and Christian Dubrock that owns well, he owns B&B Off Road, the big print companies, what he's real famous for. And then he also owns a little thing called Backyard Mudfest, entertainment group. And he kind of used to do a bunch of traveling from park to park, man. We do something together just about every year. Normally out here at Tower Tracks or whatever. Man, it's stressful as hell doing that. You know, we did a $20,000 bounty hole 3 years ago, middle of COVID. In fact, I come down with COVID the day before. Me and Kelly both had COVID and was out there running the event, you know. And I'm like, hey, look, stay back, you know, I'm sick. And we ran the whole event, man. And old Nathan Parker, that hurt my soul, man. He's the only one made a full pull on that hole, man. Megalodon got the forest and side by side, and he's the only one that he skimmed the entire pit, 300 foot. And
wow.
that kid's something else, man. You know, God bless him, man. Robert did a fine job raising that one, man. That's a good ass kid, man.
Well, speaking of events, I know I'm pushing to try to make sure that you come down to STX this year. You were there for the first year. And I know we're not doing big tire, but Rougarou would look pretty good on 50. I'm just saying.
I thought it was 46s. Hold up now.
Up to 50. Up to 50.
Up to 50s.
Yeah.
I already told Kelly I want to do that for her birthday.
Hey, well, come on. I'm telling you, I think y'all need to come down and, you know,
We had a good time last year, man. That was a scary jump.
Well, the good thing is you ain't got to worry about that.
That's the fun part, man. There's nothing like fist bumping Jesus in a Michael 60s, bro.
Hey, you know what? Alan put the GoPro in Gladiator when he ran, and that's the first time that I saw like FPV of one of those runs, and that was some footage because it was
really
sky and water.
I want to put a passenger seat back in my bike just to make people ride with me.
Hey, I threw my GoPro in there with you.
So we had my buddy's got obviously I used to do a bunch of street racing and stuff way back in the Gap and all that. So that's kind of how I got started in all this mess. I've been a gearhead since day one, man. I wanted to learn how to make my bicycle faster than the next guy. When I was about 14 or 15, my dad finally come home with a go-kart, which everybody else had one. They were 8 or 9. You know, I didn't. My parents, you know, didn't have it, man.
Right.
We didn't have cable TV. I didn't know there was cartoons on the TV on Saturday mornings until I was probably 10 or something, man. We didn't have it like that, man. I
Don't
joke
lie.
and tell everybody my mom gave us weenie water soup all the time. I don't know if you ever heard of that. That
Uh-huh.
you pull the hot dogs on Monday and drink the water for 2 or 3 days and eat. You know, on
Hey.
Thursday, Friday, you can eat the hot dog. You know.
Hey,
But,
I grew up on fried bologna sandwiches, man.
yeah, man. We didn't come for nothing, man. It was a big deal to have fish sticks and baked beans. You know, if
Mhm.
Mama made 2 sides at night, bro, we was doing good. You know.
Hey, most of the time it was a hot dog and macaroni.
Yeah, we you know, I like I said, man, my parents didn't come from much, man. Their families didn't have nothing either. You know, they just worked hard, so they ingrained that into me, and you know, I kind of my biggest thing, man, is I don't want my kids to ever be like, man, I wish I'd have done this or whatever. So I looked when my dad died, bro. They got a picture of me looking underneath the hearse. So no, ain't no damn trailer hitch on here, so can't take it with you, bro.
That's
I don't ever want to look back and say, I wish I'd have done something different. I wish I'd have done this. I just do it. I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to go to jail? Who cares? It's only money, whatever.
that's
And,
it. It's only money. Hey, I've
yes.
got.
Yeah, you're going to
That's
make more. But, man, I just, I try to live life to the fullest. You only got one, man. I refuse. I'm sure all about half of my excellent ladies are probably listening to this, like Kelly seems to think, because supposedly I've dated half the nation. But I refuse to be unhappy, man. And I've been in some unhappy relationships and unhappy with workplaces and all that, man. And got to chase my dreams and all that, man. And I can say I've got one hell of a wife, man. And I don't think she's ever told me no, as stupid as whatever sounds or whatever idea I got, man. She backs me. Same thing with my friends,
she needs to hang out with Melissa.
I could make a lot more money, bro, in other careers, man. And I know right now, if something ever happened, bro, I walked in here tomorrow, closed this place, I can probably name 100 people that hire me on the spot to go do whatever. I'm like a sponge, man. I absorb whatever you put around me, and make I try to be better than whoever's teaching me. That's just like I said, the guy that I worked for starting all this, he never wanted me to learn how to build motors. And the minute I did, bro, that was a done deal. He pissed me off for the last time, and I'm like, I'm out, bro. And I left, and everybody's like, man, open your own shop. I was like, no, I'm going back in the plants, and I did that for a couple months. And whenever I came home, man, it was people waiting on me to snorkel bikes when I got home from my turnaround.
Mhm.
And I never really looked back, man. It kind of I would go catch a turnaround, come out, work on a couple bikes, and go back to another turnaround. And then the last time they called me, man, my buddy Trace called me, and he's like, hey, we need you for 3 weeks at Point Comfort, Texas, or whatever for something for Formosa. And I'm like, man, I'm too busy with bikes, bro. I can't make it. He did it 2 or 3 more times, and I'm like, nah, man, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna give me a business license, man, and go full stream with it, man. I never really look back.
Yeah, and look, 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long road, man. Man, I've made a bunch of friends, man. It's been a good time.
You got to be doing something right.
Yeah, that's like I said, man. I can go to any park I think in the nation, man. And not everybody might not know me, but I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna give me something to ride and something to drink and something to eat.
Right. Well, that's the way it is. Like I said, I hope you make it down here. I know. Got to make sure it fits the calendar and fits everything you got going on. But
Man, she's got my calendar right here. Let me see what we got. Trucks Go Wild was this weekend. Next weekend is Top Trails in Alabama. Average Joe's Elton Swamp. Oh, Saturday the 18th, the Barber Motorsports Museum. They got their big auction. And the
Right.
Battle of the Builds is the 24th.
7th and 8th.
Bike night, I think, is the 18th, isn't it?
What are you going to?
Yeah, when's y'all's thing?
7th and 8th of June.
Yeah, Kelly's birthday is the 6th.
Yep.
But I think we're doing something on the 1st. I don't know.
Y'all are packing up and come on down.
That's what I told her, man. It was a good time last year, man. We didn't get to ride the park, because somebody likes to show up at 2 a.m. But
No comment.
I tried. I was there. That's better than look. Normally, I show up 5 minutes before the bounty hole starts.
That's right.
I've been there before where they were dragging it on, waiting on me to pull up, and they started the bounty hole while I was unstrapping bikes. I've literally done that before.
We pulled the Texas.
Yeah, the driver's meet was 3 minutes still starting at the very first one at River Run this year at Battle of the Builds. Trey was waiting on me at the gates at 12:11 or whatever. I pulled in the gates. Driver's meet was 12:15. I jumped. I ran up. The 2 or 3 people in front of me let me cut them in line. I said, "Look, I'm already paid for it. All I got to do is sign in. The driver's meeting starts in 3 minutes." And they're like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, man." My buddy had to check us in, pay their way in or whatever, and I went over there and made the driver's meeting. And they come over there and started changing stuff on the bike while we was in the middle of the driver's meeting.
Oh, dang. Well, Anthony, I do appreciate you being on this episode. It's I know it's tough getting some time. You got the bike you're building, finishing, getting ready, trying to get it 100% for the event, and then running the shop. I know you're a busy man, so I do appreciate you taking time to get with us and be on this episode.
Yep, man, it's been a blast, man. It was definitely awesome to meet y'all. What was that, over a year ago now, huh?
Yeah, that was a battle. Matter of fact, that was a Battle of the Builds event.
Yeah, came out, was like, hey, this is Alex, this is
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, this is Bruce. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then OPE.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
Do we need to bring up OPE? Sorry, I had to.
uh,
Aaron's gonna get a kick out of that one.
but what everybody said, it was a good time.
Oh, it was an awesome time.
I don't think the Uber driver enjoyed me very much, but
Hey, he enjoyed something.
I
He was
told you,
laughing.
man.
He was laughing.
Yeah, I don't know. Kelly still to this day has not told me what she tipped him for having to go have his car washed.
I have no idea because we were worried about getting you inside.
I don't know if you knew the human body can hold that much, but it can.
uh, to be
Yeah,
honest with
man.
you, I didn't think you were that bad until we stopped at that stoplight.
Yeah, I can hold it pretty good, man. I can I could drink a little bit of whiskey, man, but it ain't as good as it used to be.
Oh,
Kobe Keith said.
that was my first OPE, and I had a blast.
Yeah, it's
I know we're already discussing going back next year.
yeah, I don't think I've ever reached out to what's his name that runs it?
Shane,
Shane. But it's kind of I've got a mixed thing on that. Like SEMA supposedly is supposed to be for the professional side of it, and then the consumer, too. But that's what I go to a thing over here in Dallas called Knowledge Fest. That's for audio guys, and I'm part of that. But it's not geared towards consumers at all. It's geared towards the guys that run shops and all that. And they do some teaching. They do some classes and all that. Some of it's 30 minutes, some of it's 45 minutes, some of it's an hour and a half. And that was like we talked about y'all doing a podcast live and all that. And is it really there's some guys like Shane from TCP. When him talked about it, he's like, I don't set up a booth here because I have too many dealers here. So what exactly is OPE heading for? Is that something that they're doing for the end consumer, or is it something they're doing for business guys like me to get in and learn more about? It's kind of a
well,
I
so
personally think maybe he should do something on like just Fridays be business owners only or whatever. Saturdays be the consumers maybe can come in too. That way it gives us all opportunities to touch base more and learn more about the product, or like I said, if they did these little classes each morning for 30 minutes, you guys could go up and say, with the podcast, this is what we do, and it gives you an opportunity not only to sell yourself, but teach us as business owners. And then when I talk about it, I'm like, hey, did you listen to the podcast? And I got customers that had no idea there was even a podcast about it. I don't know how many people I've turned on to it, but I know there's quite a few that it's like, hey, what's the name of that again? So I just screenshot it and send it to them, and
oh, speak of which, I got a bunch of stickers to send with you when I see you.
awesome, man. I've got to do that, man. I'm out of shirts, out of hats. I'm down. I've probably got 20 hats in there and about 5 t-shirts left on the shelf. I got to get all that crap ordered. Like I said, man, you can't do everything at once, and I try too much to micromanage.
Well, we're still working on our merchandise ourselves, so it's coming though. We're gonna be selling shirts and hats.
Yeah, I got my one hat that I wear that's dirty, and then I got my nice clean one still. I try to do it everything. Cody at CW gave me 2. That's what I said. I got one on now, and I got one clean one. That I got 2 from you, so I got one dirty one, clean one.
That's all right. I don't even have one anymore.
I think I wear more trashy merch than I do my own stuff, man.
So, but all right, man. Well, once again, like I said, I appreciate you coming on. We'll have to get you back on here again. I know. Like I said, you're a busy man. So,
Yeah, I don't know if we heard anything really.
what's that?
So I don't know if we even covered anything really, besides bullshitting. But
Hey, that's
hey,
all
that's
this is. It's not. That's just it.
not always business.
Yep.
We're humans too.
That's it. Like, and this didn't go exactly how I wanted it to go because the GoPro cut out. So I've got footage on GoPro. I got footage on here. And I got to figure out how to splice it all together. And oh, trying something new, trying to get it a little more professional, and it's not working out the way I want it to.
Yeah,
That whole micromanaging thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm still learning, bro. I learn something every day, just about, man. So, and there's a bunch of guys that reach out to me for whatever reason and think that I'm some kind of god. And I'm like, bro, I don't know. There's guys that's been in business longer than me that ask me, how would you address this situation? I'm like, this is what I personally do.
It's the
I've
beer.
ate crow on stuff 100 times that I shouldn't have, but You piss somebody off, they'll tell everybody. If you do them right, they won't tell the soul. So,
It's the beard.
yeah, could be. It's a little intimidating, huh?
All right, Anthony, man. Like I said, I do appreciate it, and you have a wonderful weekend. Well, the rest of
Y'all
your
too, brother.
weekend, and
Yeah,
I'll get back with you. I need a few more things for the Talon, so
yeah, and then like I said, we need to figure out what we're gonna do. What all needs to be on the menu when you get down here in a couple weeks, and
I know. I've only had crawfish once this year.
I can show you how you're really supposed to cook them, not all that shit you Texans put on the outside of them.
Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Don't. I won't make
Oh,
fun of
I
your
forgot. You're a transplant. You're not even a real Texan.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, do you got stars on everything to make it Texas or what?
No.
Oh, that's what I do to Cabo. I'm like, hey, y'all can put a star on that, make it Texas, or Texan.
Yeah.
She's from College Station, so I got to give her
But
shit.
I love you, Cabo, but that doesn't count.
Oh man, that's a house divided there, son. The worst,
Oh,
I mean, the best and the worst time to be over there is during the A&M game and LSU game.
oh, I bet.
Oh yeah,
I
she's
can only imagine because I'm a Longhorns fan.
oh no, she's a Aggie girl, man. So
Oh, I know.
it's a good time, man. That's the one
So,
time they agree to love and hate each other. So it's
right.
I and we constantly give her shit too, man. So she's a good sport though, man. She's I'm a lot more, I don't say bubblier than my wife. I'll talk to anybody, and Kelly half the time's like, don't touch me. And Trey's kind of the same way. Trey's like,
That
once you get to know Trey, bro, people's like, man, he's kind of a dick, huh? He's dry or whatever. I'm like, no, he don't dick with a bunch of people, man. Trey stays to himself, and
that's the funny thing.
you
The first time I met Kelly, she didn't say much, but it wasn't an hour later. She was talking my ear off. We're all sitting there bullshitting, and I'm like, you know
that's
what?
kind of how Trey is, man. Once Trey gets a feel of me, Kelly's the same way.
Yeah.
But me and Cabo, on the other hand, man, we don't meet a stranger, So
Well, that's
it's
kind of
funny.
how I
I
am.
think that's why me and her can play off each other so well. But I have this hard time trying to know what I can say and what I can't say, So
my
she likes
wife
to
gets
come up
mad
with
at
the
me all the
mic.
time.
Yeah, she wants to come up to me and ask me something like a loaded question at an event, and I'm like, I can't say what I want to say on that, And that kind of, originally the bike wasn't called Rougarou. We all called it the shit box, but they wouldn't announce here's the shit box at Anthony.
Oh, I
So
will.
we had to change the name of it to something, and I'm like, well, the mythical creature of the swamps was a Rougarou. That's a lot of people know what it is, but a Rougarou is basically Louisiana's version of a werewolf.
Right.
Or a swamp beast or whatever. So that's where the name came from.
Hey, it's fitting.
Yep.
So, well, all right, man.
I'm about to go see what my wife cooked me to eat because I'm fat and hungry.
Yeah, I gotta get the kiddo back to the house. So, all right. Thanks again, man.
See y'all in a couple weeks, man.
Yes, sir.
Later.